Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening into the video. This is the Oracle Shaman Calliope, and I am doing this brief audio vlog on female sovereignty. And before I get into that, I want to start by discussing the ways that we approach our understanding of both divinity and godhood, and what it means to be God, what it means to be the goddess, what it means to be the divine feminine. One place I want to jump from at the beginning is what it means to be God. And a lot of women, now this is something that's more popular and something we see a lot of, the I am God consciousness coming back into the divine feminine realms. And it's exciting. It's really exciting. It's powerful and it's transformative. But there are a few things that are missing, and I don't believe in ignorance. I believe ignorance to be a curse, and I believe that because we do not know things, because we do not have a true understanding and an organic and spiritually, esoterically, truth-based understanding of things, we bumble through life, we make mistakes, we just say in cycles or, sick things that just don't feed us, they don't help us, whether that be a relationship or a mind state or a way of looking at things or doing things or a habit that you have or whatever the case might be. So what it means to be God. First and foremost, God is a creator. God is the feminine. The only being on this planet that has been given the power to create life has been the female, the feminine. And that is true in every kingdom on this planet, from the animal kingdom to the plant kingdom. And so that is the first and the foremost. So you are female. You have a womb. You have the ability to create and to give birth to life. But it's not only the creation of life, because we get into a lot of arguments. Sometimes I've seen this online. And I certainly have engaged in some of this foolishness in the past myself, in the distant past myself, where we will get into arguments with men about why they're not God. And the man, of course, because he is a co-creator with you, he is here to be our helpmeet, to help us meet our goal as God and as creationists in this realm. He, of course, feels righteously entitled to claim the same status. But a man cannot do the following. This is where it gets sticky and tricky and where feelings get hurt. A man cannot sustain creation. His body can't sustain it. It can't maintain it. But the female and the feminine can. Her breasts produce milk to nourish that baby. Her body produces all of the hormonal enzymes necessary to cultivate, incubate, and give birth to that life force, that spark of life that was, embedded in her womb. And because of those three things, because the feminine, the female, is the creator, a maintainer, and a sustainer of energy, being that life or whatever the case might be, that makes her God. Now, that is both an honor and a privilege as well as a burden, because to be God in spirit and in womb means to truly be claiming your power. You're not handing it over to another. You're not acting like the victim. You're not pretending that there's coincidence or any of these other things that tend to get in our way. And so with great power comes great responsibility. And the feminine, the female on this planet, has been very, very, very irresponsible with that power and with that authority. And a lot of that has been male manipulation and machination into female affairs, which we're seeing in our political climate right now with a lot of this anti-female legislation that's going on, this anti-womb and anti-child, anti-family that's not the man as the head, patriarchal structure type things that are going on in our political cultural constructs right now. And so with that, I'll go right into my points on female sovereignty, and I will also post a link with this so that you can get signed up and so that you can get further information, edification for your spiritual walk. This is going to be a wonderful call, ladies. One of my favorite songs as a little girl, and anyone who's listened to any videos before or who's worked with me before knows that I was raised as a Christian, If you're new, welcome, and now you know. I was raised as a Christian. So one of my favorite songs was Little Girl in Church. The chorus had one word. We repeated that word over and over again, and we would sing it. We would sing the word sovereign. It would repeat in a refrain. We would sing it in multiple different tones. Anyone who's ever been to church, especially a black church, you know that we can sing. And everybody has their harmony. I was the first alto, and I would falsetto second soprano if I needed to fill in. But we would sing this, and it would invoke the same feeling in me each and every time. At the time, I didn't have any concept of what the word sovereign meant. I was just a clueless kid singing along in church, a song that I had been taught to sing. But there was something about the energy of it anyway that just captured me. And being that I was always a bookworm kid, you should know, I spent the majority of my life with a dictionary and the thesaurus and my notebook. I would read books that were so-called above my reading level, and these three tools were always handy to me so that if I ever encountered a word I didn't understand or wasn't familiar with, I could record it in my notebook, and I would guess what the meaning of it was based on the context that was used in the book or the song or whatever the case would be. And I would go later to the dictionary to get the concrete definition, and I go to the thesaurus to see what other words were used to convey the same energy. With that little practice, the meaning of the word sovereign did not escape me for very long. After I recorded it in my notebook, I went to the preachers and teachers to ask them why God the Father is sovereign. I wanted to understand the context in which they were applying the word and teaching us to apply it. And since I was family, I really expected to be told what it meant. The family revealed to me, unfortunately, that they were just as clueless as I was to why they applied the term sovereign to God the Father. It wasn't more than, just a regurgitated soundbite. It was something everyone else had done, and it was something that we did because it sounded right and it sounded like it was reverence and honor to Father God. But it showed me something that changed my life, about what it means to be sovereign, about what it means to apply the concept of sovereignty to a deity, and how to translate that, especially coming out of this Abrahamic faith and patriarchal religion, into a spiritual, esoteric, divine feminine realm of harmony and balance, and how to apply that to myself. So what the concept of sovereignty has done when it's in an application to a Abrahamic-based male deity is it has completely eluded the concept of sovereignty has eluded the divine female and feminine forever because of all the energy that goes along with what we either feel when we hear the word sovereign or perceive sovereignty to be. It has been ascribed to a male and hyper-masculine alleged creative force for hundreds of thousands of years. So sovereignty, rulership, divine rights. This word from the Logos means freedom of will, the ability to act independent of the concern of another while also acting in the interest of others. Interesting. To be sovereign is to be the chief or the principal being of importance in any situation or collective. To be unowned, uncontrolled, unmitigated, to be governed by the self, and in the interest of the self. This information and more is what we're going to go over in our book study. This is something that women absolutely must know. We must absorb this. We must put it into application in our lives. And this is going to bring about a great healing in and among the feminine, in and among your female friends, your own life, your own relationship to yourself, and to anybody that you call sister. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I will be posting the link under the video here, and you guys are more than free to sign up. I'm looking forward to doing this call with you. We've already got a couple of sisters who have hit me up about this. It's going to be wonderful. Do not miss this opportunity. It would be my joy and my pleasure to discuss with you how we can take those keys of sovereignty and apply them to our female lives so that the I am God consciousness, the divine as feminine, the God as female consciousness that we are invoking on this planet at this time is not just a bunch of words. It's not just a regurgitated soundbite. It's not just something that we say to prop ourselves up and make ourselves feel better, but it is something that we live, read, eat, sleep, and do. every single moment of our lives. All right, ladies, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for calling in. Namaste. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.